4, 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, that's right. There's the problem. I forgot to do that too. Oh well. I can't move you in and do it all at the same time. It is what it is. But we're here. That's it. We're live. We did it. All right. Hi. Nice to see everybody. Hi, Lauren. Hi, everyone at home. Welcome back. Cars and Coffee Show, late night Playset. It's a big night for us. It's our 5-year anniversary. We're going to be talking all about the last 5 years. It is also the anniversary of Late Night with David Letterman. By the way, both of these were yesterday. We didn't have a show yesterday. February 1st was the anniversaries. 41 years for Late Night with David Letterman. 5 years for this little show, whatever this is, from our dining room, kitchen / foyer here. We'll tell you more about that tonight, as well as we're going to be talking to this young lady over here. Right over there, we're going to be talking to, that's me again. Hang on. Hey, there you are. There he is. Holding down the fort north of the border, it's our friend Canada Mike. Beautiful pants jacket. Happy anniversary to you, sir. Also the host of the Letterman podcast, so it's a big week for you. What's happening?
Happy anniversary, guys. I'm so excited that 5 years after you started this thing, you kept going, because I didn't come on till like year 4.5. So, you know, if you would have called it at year 3, I would have lost a whole lot of joy in my life. So thanks for hanging in there.
I think a lot of people had money on us calling it on year 3, maybe even 2.5. But then along came COVID, and what on earth? Yeah, it's been a long run, but at the same time, it's never been the same. Oh, here I go. Here we go. I'm trying to see him over there. Excuse me.
You're
He's
drifting.
all the way up in Kennedy. It's hard to see over there. In the meantime, it feels like we've done so many different shows in those 5 years. It doesn't feel like one anniversary. It kind of just, I don't know. It feels like a birthday more than anything else. Would you agree with that?
It's an achievement, no doubt. That's a long time, 500 plus shows, and still rocking it. It's awesome. I can't wait for all the clips you've queued up tonight. It's going to be great to take a trip down memory lane.
You're such a jerk. It's not that show. I wish we had clips queued up. Can you imagine? If you were actually a producer on the show down here and were able to wrangle that stuff, man, what a show we'd have tonight. Instead, we're just going to be talking about that stuff. And then, you know what? If we whatever, we'll figure it out. Will, you know what to do, Will. Can't start this off without Will. Welcome back, everybody. Happy anniversary. It's Thursday, February 2nd. Technically, yesterday was the anniversary. And if you really want to get technical, 131 we did the brief introduction to. It was just that 2-1 was our first show.
Right.
Remember, we put that brief introduction up?
I do.
Not so brief. We'll be looking at that, actually. That will be the one clip that we have queued up tonight. We'll be looking at that in a little bit in what we call TBT. We have creatively called that TBT. It's a Throwback Thursday. If anyone doesn't have social media, you're listening to this on a phonograph. Thursday, February 2nd, 2023. God dang it. That's a hell of a number. 22223. Happy anniversary. Gosh, bring the camera in here. What's happening? Does this work too? Okay, good. Whoo-wee. Still working on the haircut. Short on the sides, a little longer on top. Now it's that bouffant thing you talked about the other day. Was it coiffed for a while? Now it's springy.
Looks high.
Thank you. It's a struggle. I'm working on it. There's spray in it to try to, but it's doing what it does. Good vibe sticker from Mitch, Dr. Mitch. Just want to say I love you. One of our Sunday buddies. He's one of our car buddies, I guess. Drives the Outlaw Miata. Anyway, here. Here's the plan tonight. We're going to reminisce. We're going to be talking about the last 5 years. This was never the intention. What you are watching today, we never intended. We never thought this would be the thing. Although when we decided to do it, I was pretending I was doing exactly this the whole time. And when you go back and you look, you'll kind of get it. You'll be like, oh, look, there's the microphone. Oh, look, he put the iPad over here in the spot where there would be a cutout in the table if you were using Letterman's table. There's a lot, the blue mugs, the pencils. It's all kind of there. We did manifest the desk and chairs for sure. Anyway, let's just do that first, right? Let's just go right into the TBT, right? Hal? All right. This was 5 years ago. I guess technically yesterday, but whatever. Roll it, Hal. I say Hal's asleep in the control. Roll it, Hal.
All right. Let's try this thing.
Are we on?
Let's do the thing. I think we are. That's what they always say not to say. Are we on? Are we on? But I think you have to, at least your first time. We actually are on. I'm checking like cameras and stuff that I don't know how to work any of this stuff. It's a work in progress. Yep, see? That's all right. All right. Well, I am Jay Ryan. This is Nicole Ryan. We are the Ryans, and this is, I'm going to call it the Porsche Life podcast, but essentially, I think by the time we're done talking about it, it will sort of be clear what this is. Actually, it probably won't be clear because it wasn't clear to us, which is why we're doing it this way.
Right. Figuring it out in lifetime, basically.
Yeah. Essentially, this is going to be Life with the Ryans. And it's not Life with the Ryans as in like, oh, it's our reality show. It's more like we tried a bunch of different things to try to do this, to try to figure out what to talk about. Because we're into so many different things, and people know certainly of a lot of our interests. But we didn't want to pigeonhole into like a Porsche podcast or a car podcast or an adventure podcast. Sort of everything, because we've got medical stuff we want to talk about. We've got, future world thinking type things we want to talk about. Life,
Because it's really different and it's very fluid and it changes all the time and it's different for everyone, which is, for me, what was hard about defining anything we were going to talk about. Because everyone wants to pigeonhole everything, which I totally understand. It's easier to understand life that way when you can compartmentalize things.
when people look at it through their eyes, you mean? Just their perspective?
Yeah.
Assuming assuming that life, what you know as life, is the same for everybody else.
Right.
Which is not fair.
No. But everyone does it. It's a human thing, and it's just literally how we perceive our surroundings as humans. But once you evolve past that, because you have to usually, you realize that everyone's in their own head and they're all listening to their own inner monologue. So to reach anyone authentic, actually, you have to reach their authentic core, which means you need to know yours.
Yeah. Woo! Whoops, I cut that off. Well, here, I'll do it over here. Yeah! Woo!
Oh.
Wow. I mean, same but different, right? What do you
Yeah.
think, Canada Mike?
Okay, so I got a question. Is the Studio 60 Life magazine picture and the bookshelf in the same location as it was in that video?
That's the weirdest thing about all of this. Yes and no. The magazine is in exactly the same picture, exactly the same place. Like literally hasn't changed. The bookshelf was moved over a little bit to to create it's sort of in the corner now with a light behind it to give the illusion of more space back there, right?
Right.
But it's in the same corner. It was just pressed up against the wall. So yes, the answer I think to some of your questions are, are we in the same space? Gosh darn it. Whew! Yes, but it's hard to find a camera. There's too many cameras. I'm sitting in the same space, like probably exactly within a couple inches, and the guest chair is in the same space where she was sitting, probably within a couple inches, which is pretty wild that we're in the same physical location.
That is wild.
It's fantastic.
Well, that's kind of the point.
It shows what you can do with a little bit of paint and a little bit of know-how. Holy cow.
Oh, I mean, you're being very nice. Yeah, that's a very nice way to look at it. Another way to look at it would be like, wow, you've been in that room too long. Look what you've done. You've pushed everything right up to the edge. We sort of used to live in the middle of the room, and there was a production space in the middle of this room. We outgrew the room. We outgrew the outer room. We outgrew the room next to the room.
It's spreading like a fungus.
COVID, I don't know. COVID was good and bad for us, I guess. Jay Ryan, yeah. We couldn't move, so I was like, well, let's just make the studio better, because, what else can we do?
Okay, so at what point, so in the 5-year run, did it go from that to this?
No. What do you mean one point? It started there, and it's here today. It's been a gradual...
That's what I'm saying. At what point did it... Yes. At what point did it become the Playset? Year 2?
No, I think we're it's linear. I don't think there is no stepping that I'm aware of.
Okay.
What do you mean? When did the desk and chairs arrive?
Well, I just would say that like that first night, I don't think you were calling it the late night Playset that night.
No.
I guess.
Well, you mean for all the different names?
Did it become?
I got you. So I guess like each year, because this never really had enough direction, there was never enough structure to whatever we were attempting here. It seemed like at the end of each year, we had grown into something else. It was still the same kind of bigger idea of Cars Comedy Life, but how we were doing it was different. The guests we were getting were different. How we were setting up the studio was different. How we were capturing it to show to people was different. So we just kind of were always changing the names. And Late Night Playset, I think, was, I don't know, the third one probably. It was Life with the Ryans. Then it was when we got the desk and chairs and Gary Shandling died and all that. It was like I named it It's Tonight Show, because it felt like, oh, we're doing a little late night talk show here, but nobody. Why does Life with the Ryans sounds like a blog? Like, what the hell are you doing? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've got them too. It's Tonight Show. Still my favorite name ever. And if we ever got a real show, I would love to call it that. They probably wouldn't let me, but I still think it's a neat name, and Gary Shandling, I think, would love it too. It's Tonight Show, then Late Night Playset, and then Cars and Comedy was sort of, we'll get into that in a little bit, I guess, but it was sort of the advisement of a marketing person that we really know and trust, and it was more on the lines of like, you need to let people know what you're doing, because they don't know what the fuck you're doing. You got, it's like with the Ryans, but you got a talk show. Like, nobody understood. They're like, what is your show? I was like, well, it's Cars and Comedy. That's it. There's your show, Cars and Comedy. But then the funny thing was, that's like how a regular marketer would work. And for the masses, that probably would work. We are always painting ourselves in corners and shooting ourselves in feet. Like, we've amassed this little audience of fellow interesting people that are sort of outside the box themselves, fellow weirdos, if you will. I hope no one takes offense to that. I'm a weirdo, so... and they don't
they're in between the lines of that mass marketing thing. So I don't think they even care about the Cars and Comedy thing. I got so many messages when we first changed it last year to Cars and Comedy of people who are like, love the new name, love it. Oh, it's so great. And all of those messages were from the marketing type people, like people who are good at podcasts, people who are good at metrics, people who are good at ones and zeros. And they're like, love it. And anybody who's been following the show from the beginning, they're like, you changing the name again? Why? We like Late Night Playset. It's good. It's what you are. So it is what it is. It's a whole goddamn nightmare. If somebody were really knew what they were doing, not me, obviously. I'm 82 toothpicks, 82, 82, 82, 246 toothpicks. I'm the Rain Man of this equation. If we had a Charlie Babbitt to be like, you know how you make money with that, we'd probably be able to jive all that shit together. I feel like 2023 is the year all of that happens because a lot of people have been coming out of the woodwork to offer help on this show. It seems to be like we've done enough growing that people now want to like, okay, we get it. Like, how can we help? Let's make this a thing.
Cool.
There's somebody who reached out on the show, I think, but then also he sent me some messages, and we've been going back and forth, who wants to do clips for us, willing to do the editing of the clips for us, which would be amazing to get us started with that. And whatever I just said a second, marketing was one, and whatever. There's a whole bunch of things that that we've always been lacking in, and we're finally, hitting that. And then a lot of the stuff behind the scenes too that's quietly being worked on.
What episode was your first guest? Because Carol was your first guest, right?
No. No.
Okay.
We intended to have our first guest here tonight. Well, it's weird because actually, I can't remember the order of this. It'd be very simple to check the videotape. I don't know why I didn't look. It's either Derek Whitaker, who was intended to be here tonight, or Tori Alonso, VW for life, who, ironically, we haven't talked to in a while for no reason other than life, and he's on the other side of the world. Country anyway, but he sent me a message today that he was whatever. I got to get back with him. Either Tori Alonso or Derek Whitaker were the first guests. Like we had guests right off the bat. I think that brief introduction.
So
was
episode 2.
Yeah, I think so. I can't look here. I'd have to go to the computer, but I'm pretty sure. Well, I guess I can look on YouTube.
Sounds right.
Yeah, and then we did a handful of. It was kind of like we were doing this every day when we first started. Because we had the health and the energy and the wherewithal and whatever, and I think we did it Monday through Thursday, right? And then Friday was up to Newcomb's. That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of shows to fill. So we did do some, like we'd have a couple guests and we'd do a couple alone, and the topics that we would talk about alone were very interesting, and sometimes like. We would each bring something to talk about that day, and I kind of used to like that. It was a little bit easier when you could talk, of course. But at one of those shows where it was just the two of us, what Nicole chose to talk about was Carol Leifer, and so we had a conversation about Carol Leifer and the genius of Carol Leifer and how talented we both think she is, and whatever. We had a little bit of Carol Leifer, and then I think. If I recall, I think you sent her, I think I made a clip back then. I was making like a couple clips here and there, and I think you sent it to her, or maybe even the whole show.
I think so. And I know that I reached her on Facebook.
Yeah.
I knew her from so long ago.
But she was like, this is amazing. Where do you do this? And it was when it was still at the dining room table at that point. We were just wrapping up. Oh, that's funny. There you go. She wasn't our first guest on the show, but she was she might have been the first real guest. She was one of the first guests in the Desk and Chairs. Does that make sense?
Okay.
When you reached out to her, it was the middle of our
Desk
and Chairs Pants Across America tour, or whatever we called it. And I remember that was part of it, and I think they had just arrived when she got here. So it was weird that we were a little out of sorts, because we had kind of gotten used to the table thing. We'd kind of gotten comfortable. The guests were getting good. We were getting into a groove. And then... we even had this we had a poll on the air to see if people thought we should keep the table or if we should get the desk and chairs because they were offered to us, should we start using them on the show? And it was kind of a 50-50 type of thing. A lot of people were like, no, that's going to change it and we're not into it. And I was like, well, I mean, I agree with you, but I think we can do it in a way because it won't be, you're thinking it'll be like Dave Letterman where you're next to each other. And I think we can do it in a way where it's not. Whatever, as if we weren't going to.
we ultimately decided to. And but then it was wicked awkward again because we were back to whenever something's new, you're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where to look.
I do think she was one of the first. It was like, here's everything.
Yeah, we don't know what we're doing. And that was, you and Don's and I often talk about the Chris Farley show. That was for sure
Yes.
our first Chris Farley show. We've had many since, but that was our first Chris Farley show. That was crazy. She's still one of the people I'm still indebted to the most. Anybody who came in the beginning to me, I'm so indebted to. Byron Bowers, one of our first guests who was here last Tuesday, the other day, was our most recent guest. Jonathan Hirsch, who's since passed away, he was one of our first guests. Very interesting dude. Talked a lot about mushrooms and psychedelics and was sort of expanding his mind. And
Yeah.
wouldn't you know it, went to go visit his mom on somewhere else in the country and dropped dead out of nowhere. Like weird.
Yeah. I remember him.
He was like so weird and connected. He was a weird dude. Like that level of crazy and eccentric is kind of like a fine line, often defined by money.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But there was some great people. Let alone all our car guests. I mean, the professor on in the beginning, Derek Whitaker, of course. I think of Chuck Miller. I think of so many people who were really taking a chance on us. I mean, like, it's still a weird little show to do. Like, you still have to want to do it. But luckily, these days, most people want to do it. I mean, we don't have to really reach out to people unless it's somebody who's never been here before or somebody who's, like, never heard of us. Excuse me. Sorry, Dave. Yeah. There is that. Thank you for asking questions, too, because I figured that you would... damn it. Got excited. Gardening? No.
Oh, that was when we were making jokes about it being a clip show.
Oh, I see. Jared Fadley can't stay for the live show. We'll catch up tomorrow. Take care, y'all. Jared Fadley, I don't know who you are, but I do like that you were talking with Byron the other day. That was funny. He's the one that brought up Byron's
I watched his
dad's
special
favorite
that
picture.
night.
Was it on Disney in Canada?
So yeah, I thought it wasn't on up here at all, and I was like, okay, because I was planning on watching it beforehand. The moment he said that, our Disney Plus up here in Canada has a 5th category, and it's called Star. And when you click on Star, it has a whole bunch of stuff that's on Hulu in the States. A lot of it's FX stuff. Like
Wow.
Dave, that's how
I
I
cannot even
watched the
believe
show
that
Dave.
Disney is putting out this
It's
material.
a
Wow. Okay.
weird combo.
Yeah. So I watched it that night, and it is fantastic. And I'll tell you, one of my favorite parts about it is that it was on. Obviously, it was on FX, and it has these little spots where it breaks for commercial, and all it does is fade to black. But when you watch it on Disney Plus, obviously it just fades out and then fades back in again. An unintentional, very cool effect in his show.
Stop.
Is those
Stop.
Why?
That's the
I'm not
special.
spoiling nothing.
That's the special. It's
Yeah.
that way here too. It's
Yeah.
done that way on purpose. It has nothing to do with the commercials in Canada.
Okay. So when it aired on FX, it wasn't like that.
I've never seen it on FX.
I
That's
thought
how
that
the
was where the
special was
commercial breaks
crafted. The special is crafted how you saw
okay.
it to have those breaks.
Okay. Very, very cool. Just.
I'm sorry.
was powerful.
Sorry to get so aggressive. I just didn't want you to go down the wrong path too far.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but it was very, very. Boy, was it cerebral! It was just a wonderful, wonderful special, and introspective topics. I just loved it very, very much. Can't
Very
recommend
happy to hear
special
that.
enough.
I'm very happy to hear
Yeah.
that. After seeing the dude and talking to the dude here, I would imagine that that you really got what we were talking about.
Connected, I just sat there, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some laugh out loud moments, but I just kind of sat there, very, very connected. You know, when sometimes you watch something, the text comes in, you take it. That was one of those things where all I did was right in the middle of it. I paused it for a second. I texted you, and I think I said, "I fucking love this special" or something like that. Like it was
Wow.
it was powerful. It was powerful.
Yeah, I thought and we didn't talk about it during this, but the hard R bit was one of the most genius things I have I was like, wow, it's so simple, and he thought of it. So good. It's so good. Watch the special to find out what we're talking about. All the blanks were intended by the creative team, including the director, Alma. So did you know that his girl that we were talking about during the show is the one who directed that?
Well, yes, I did know that.
Okay.
I knew that going in.
She's incredibly talented in her own right. I mean, together they're a wonderful team.
Masterfully done.
Yeah. I'm glad you saw it. I'm glad you liked it. He's a great guy.
Oh, the aesthetics were amazing. Like, again, I'm not spoiling anything. The setting of it in a boxing ring, and it looked almost like like stadium seating around him, like you're going in for like a boxing match at a very small club.
It's exactly what like a
just
Ray Donovan type
very
thing.
Cool. The aesthetics.
He chose that was shot in Atlanta, down back where he's hometown where he's from.
Fantastic.
Isn't that
And I
cool?
love that too, because I mean, yeah, very and then so when anybody who watches this show goes out and watches the special, go back immediately and watch Byron on the Cars and Comedy show then. And I mean, it's a really cool 1-2 punch, and I imagine it's cool both ways.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, highly recommend doing that.
Oh, you're the best. So yeah, I mean, him, back to your original question of, the early guests and stuff. Anybody who was here in the beginning, I'm so grateful for, because like we say we don't know what we're doing now, and that's totally true, but we were really out there in the beginning.
Yeah. They were so nice to come and give us the confidence that I needed for sure.
If you go back and watch that stuff, it's like you've seen this now, so you know where we got, so you can see a lot of this in that. We didn't have this as the trajectory then, so it was kind of like, where are we going? I don't know. Let's figure it out today.
Yeah.
And it was a husband and wife who we didn't know what we were doing in a lot of different ways. So like there are so many conversations and shows that are just
I was opinionated
Therapeutic.
and could talk.
therapeutic.
So,
Opinionated and can
different.
talk.
yeah, so belligerent is the easiest combination for me, but goes far.
Yeah. I always go back to awkward, part 1 and 2.
It's a good way to describe
Oh my
that.
gosh, it was so funny. It was so funny. But I wouldn't have traded any of that, because I feel like we as a couple needed that stuff. Does that make sense? That
Yeah.
having video footage of going through conversations and having arguments or discussions, disagreements, whatever it is, and then having that video archive of it to be able to go back to, in the beginning anyway, we used to watch them back, and it was not fun. But it makes you look at yourself, and that is tough if you haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Have you seen the Jonah Hill movie, the Stats movie?
No, not yet. The documentary. Him
Yeah,
and the
there's,
therapist.
without taking anything from it, because it's great, he makes a comment that he can't talk not in front of people, and I understand that now.
Can't talk not in front of people.
Correct.
In front of people, the words come.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I have a theory about that. What is his reasoning for that?
He doesn't go into it.
I think he's a pretty enlightened dude, like, because he's done the work to get there. I know he's not the kid that you worked with on Superbad.
No, it's not.
Thank God. And just, I mean, the last time I worked with him was what? It would have been like 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago. So not recently. And even longer than that for you. I mean, we just mentioned Superbad. Around that time, way back when. He's definitely a different person. And here's where I go. Here's why what I was saying. He strikes me as the type of person who could be like a legitimate channel now. And I think that he's a really good mouthpiece for good and mental wellness and health. Mental wellness. Oh, it's something new. Anyway, I have a feeling that it's like that famous idea, the question, where do your ideas come from? Like, they're channeled from somewhere. I call it the tether all the time. I'm like, I'm not smart. Whenever I'm telling you something that we're in a fucking thing and I'm like, this isn't coming for me, I don't care. I'm not fighting this fight. But blah, 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 blah. Like, I wonder, and he's so artistic in so many other ways too. I wonder if he's like just connected and the flow won't flow unless it's going somewhere important.
I get that sense from him too. He's incredibly smart, but he stops himself from interjecting over what he hears.
Oh, well, that's a gift. I'm working on that one.
He learned it.
All right. Jonah Hill. Can we get him here? That would be great. Oh, and then the other one. I know I'm asking you. Hey, can you call Jonah Hill and have him come over? And then the other one was Jason Segel.
I reached out about Siegel,
You did?
someone that we both know. So
We watched him.
fingers crossed.
Can we do a 2 seconds of what you watching lately or what you watching today or
Yeah.
whatever we're calling that damn thing? We watched something. Oh, gosh. I'm going to try not to get emotional during this because we both sobbed our eyes out during it. It was obviously very sensitive for us. Jason Segel's in a movie called Our Friend or The Friend?
The Friend.
I think the book is called The Friend, and then the movie is called Our Friend. Anyway, whatever it was, I keep getting it wrong. I think when you have to search for it, I think it's actually Our Friend or The Friend. Casey Affleck, not Neistat. Casey Affleck. The girl, I can never remember her name. Dakota Johnson?
I don't know.
Anyway, it's a story about a husband and wife, and the wife gets terminal cancer, and her name is Nicole, and she cuts her hair short like Nicole, and it's a whole different thing, and Nicole used to work with Jason Segel, and the friend from this family ends up coming to stay with the husband and wife while they're going through this thing, and this thing ends up being a bigger thing than they think, and blah, 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 ties them together forever. It's a really beautiful character type piece, I guess, is the only way to say it. It's very heavy. You're dealing with cancer and stuff, but it's also Jason Segel, and he has a way of making things funny and light in light of the
While
heaviness.
being deep about it. Like,
And
I'm
sensitive
really,
to the issues.
really impressed with him.
We loved this movie, either Our Friend or The Friend, depending on... can you
Our
look it
Friend.
up, actually?
I did. It's Our Friend.
Our Friend, okay. But I think she's right about the book being The Friend. Anyway, bury the lead. True story. It's a true story. And the reason there's some confusion here is because the husband in this movie, Casey Affleck, is a writer. And once this ordeal is over, he pens a piece about the whole ordeal. And it was published in like Esquire, something big, GQ, something big. Anyway, beautiful story.
Esquire.
Really, really impressive feat by everybody, I think. It shows both sides, how you're able to put the smile on and have fun some days with this type of struggle, and how some days you're just not. And we just loved it. And it made us say, would you please come on our show? You worked on Forgetting Sarah Marshall with him. Well, you worked on probably a lot of stuff with him, but I always think of Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
And that was a big one. We were caught up in the TV show, How I Met Your Mother.
That's right.
Took over a lot of attention that we couldn't give to everything.
I can't imagine how you had your hands full at the time. When we launched Everybody Hates Chris, our main competition for the two big shows to watch that year, like for the fall schedule, Everybody Hates Chris and How I Met Your Mother. They were two brand new shows on the schedule, and they were both huge. And you had both of them.
Yeah. Leads on both.
Let alone all of your other clients.
Yeah.
Crazy. So what was it like dealing with him for that? Oh, didn't they? Go ahead. There's more to that story. Shabatsky?
Sherbatsky, the Canadian that I'm apparently is based on me.
There's a character in the show that was apparently loosely constructed around her.
Her name's Robin, which was my best friend's name at the time.
But her last name was Shabbat, and everyone called her Shabbat. Nicole's last name was Shabbat.
Yeah. Robin
Did
Sherbatsky.
she play hockey as well?
No, because it's not cool. But she's a hockey fan.
This would be a great time. If I didn't mention it already, I'll calm this hair down a little bit. with my Rupert hat. Your only source for officially licensed Late Show with David Letterman merchandise is, of course, the Hello Deli in New York City, 53rd and Broadway. Visit Hello Deli online at hello-deli.com. Say hi to Rupert. Tell him Nicole says hello as well, because oftentimes...
I cannot.
Yeah, we love Rupert. Thank you, Rupert, for all our stuff. As a matter of fact, speaking of Late Show merch and stuff, and your jacket there, the slightly different Late Show variety one, is... What are they? It's not an auction this time. They're raffling it off, right? Which I think is a better way to go. Everybody has
so
can buy in.
The last time, Walter and company were not happy at all about how high the jacket went, how quickly it went up to like $8,000, and then he was like, "Oh well, nobody else, not regular people can't put in for it. We're gonna do a raffle the next time."
Smart.
So now anybody can enter.
Yep.
And get
It's
a
like
chance
Lotto.
to get an official. Yeah.
And it's $20, which is totally fair. Because if you end up with a Late Show jacket, that's
Absolutely.
killer.
Yes.
Good for you.
I will be buying tickets multiple times throughout the raffle because I would like that jacket.
And that's the
You,
other
on
thing.
the
So
other
then
hand,
you
already
can
have
improve
that
your
jacket.
odds like lotto tickets by buying more.
Yes, that's right. But that jacket, if I'm not mistaken, is already a jacket that you have in your closet. This jacket, of course, being raffled off is one of David Letterman's. The jacket in your closet, also one of David Letterman's. Correct? That's the one, right?
Yeah, but I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't ever sell it. I mean, not only would I never sell it. I mean, it's not like I wear it. It's literally in the closet for years and years. But I couldn't ever. It's. I mean, it's part of this. It'd be like selling this microphone on eBay. Like, do you know how little sense that fucking makes?
Yes. Yes, I do.
It's not about the money. You know, I mean, as you know, a lot of Letterman items will be hitting the auction block soon, and we'll be talking about that on the show soon. Stay tuned. That's hard to say. But I can't even imagine. So, like, it's just tied to me and the story. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I wouldn't even sell, like, my Ed Sullivan Theater one, and I bought that one from the CBS store when it was on the corner outside the theater.
Yep.
And I have that pants one,
Yep.
too, and I'll still never tell how I got that one.
Really?
Yeah, there's a neat story behind that one, too, but I won't tell it here. Someday. Sweeps week. I'll tell it during Sweeps
Well,
week.
someday I think there might be a venue for you to tell it.
There will be, and I'll tell you something else. There is an interesting story behind it, and it did come from another talk show host.
Well, now I'm all excited. By the way, the name of the book was The Friend, Love is Not a Big Enough Word by Matthew Teague.
Oh, wow.
And
Matthew
it says
Teague,
here
right,
it was a
that's the name of the
biographical
guy.
drama.
Say it again?
It says here, too, that it was a 2019 American biographical drama. So
Well, it
there
is a
might be
true
some
story.
True story stuff in this. Yeah.
Yeah. Biographical drama. Those are the best kind. Can't stand non-biographical drama. Autobiographical drama? It's just a dude who's starting shit all the time. You know, we mentioned some people are nothing but autobiographical drama. We mentioned the other day, it's kind of a downer, but I need to mention it again because we want to support this person. Kayla, the car girl, is going through a lot. She had to put her dog down. That's tough for anybody, but at the same time, she has been silently dealing with cancer. I've heard mixed reports, either stage 3 or stage 4 cancer. I don't care what kind of cancer. If you're young and you're dealing with cancer, if you're any age and dealing with cancer, it sucks. It sucks. She's a very nice person. She's very nice to everybody she meets. I wish her the best and nothing but good vibes and healing energy towards Kayla. We made a contribution to her GoFundMe. There is a GoFundMe. Please go. I don't know, it's probably on our profile. It's on her profile. Bruce Brown. Everyone's a friend of Bruce Brown. It's making the list, or just go to GoFundMe and search for Kayla. I don't know what to say. Get well soon is like trite and whatever, but how about this? We exchanged a lot of messages the other day, but we're fighting with you. We love you. If you need anything, the lot of us are here. So many people who love you.
Lots of support. I feel like everyone needs to hear that sometimes.
Especially now. There's people going through shit. I feel like everything's tightening up out there.
From the little I've heard, everyone seems to feel alone. No one is. So just know that.
What's going on, do you think, in the world that people are feeling that way? This can be to you too, Mike, or anybody. I mean, open floor question.
I've heard political things which are divisive on purpose, so I don't buy into it.
Yeah.
But like, people are closing off because of not wanting to be disliked by people.
They're afraid to offend, so they're shutting down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. So they no longer have their circles where they used, or at least their outlets that they used to be able to.
Yeah, because people are not used to being confronted by word choice. And so instead of finding new ways to say things they don't necessarily know how to say, they just don't talk. And so it's putting up divides between people.
Well, what you're saying makes a lot of sense for what's going on. I see out in the real world, people are losing their shit. Like, you know how I was a couple years ago, and I'm getting better at it instead of worse? Like, I feel like everyone else is getting worse at that one thing. Like, we're all just a little too wound up, a little too tight, and then one little thing out in the real world from some stranger or whatever is making people flip out and hit people with a bat in traffic, like that Tesla guy who just got arrested finally. Or just there's tons of shootings, and there's just, it seems like, I don't know. It's the news too, right? So I guess everything is whatever you follow. But it does seem to be that things are ramping up. I go to Ghostbusters here. It seems like there must be negative slime under the city right now, and we need to like all sing Old Lang Syne or something and get it back together.
It's good advice.
Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe a crazy old painting is trying to take over the world.
Maybe.
Yeah, could be.
It never
It's
hurts.
Janos.
Never hurts to be positive.
Dr. Venkman, why are you came?
I love that part of the movie.
I do too. But I worked at every time I saw him, he used to be on Ally McBeal, and I used to work over at David E. Kelly, and every time I saw him, I would... You know how I got the autistic thing, right? And I've got a mimic thing, and there's a callback. I shake Bernie Mac's, totally different story, by the way. It just happens all the time. I go to shake Bernie Mac's hand for the first time, being introduced to him at his Christmas party, at his soundstage, on his show at Radford, by somebody who invited me, who's part of his crew. And, oh, Bernie, this is Jay Ryan. I said, oh, Jay Ryan. And he goes, denim like a jeans. I said to him, just like that. I go, denim like a jeans. He looked at me. He knew exactly what I did. No one here probably does. He looked at me, knew exactly what I did, gave me a smile of like, all right, and then went the other way. It was like, that was it. Do you have any idea what I was doing when I said it?
Okay, so that's Ocean's 11, which is fantastic. But I'll tell you, if I was shaking Bernie Mac's hand, when he was alive, and meeting him for the first time, I would have said this. I would have said, "Some of 'em a bitch," because I love the way he said "some of 'em a bitch."
Yeah.
That's what I would have said.
Did you used to do that when shaking people's hands, though? Because for me, it was a trigger of, I'm now watching the big man shake my hand just like, and for whatever reason, we were on a soundstage, so there were lights. Whatever it was, it looked just like that scene. And
yes, when he was shaking the car dealer's hand or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
he didn't say "some of 'em a bitch." I don't believe shaking anyone's hand, but I just even
Does
to
he
this
say it in
day,
that
many
movie?
Times will say. I don't know. He doesn't. I think he said it on stage all the time. It's the way that he said. The way he delivered that phrase was just only Bernie Mac delivered it like that.
I know what you mean about people.
It is imprinted in me.
I know what you mean about people saying the same thing different. Like instead of "son of a bitch," Jackie Gleason used to say "some bitch" in that movie in Smokey. So I get it.
There you go.
Would've been
But
great
Denim
to
Like
meet
a
Jackie
Jean
Gleason.
is fantastic.
Oh no, it was so embarrassing. She was like, "What the hell is that?" She goes, she wasn't upset with me at all because she knew he was cool. Whatever, everybody was fine. But she was like, "What are you doing?" And from 1,000 times of having that experience with me.
I asked Bernie about that years later, and he got tickled just remembering it. So you never know. People like to talk to him because he's warm, but they never have anything to say. So he was so tickled by your remembering and affection.
The fact that I think it was real. I think whatever it was for me was real. Like that's why a lot of the people that were around, like weirdos or not, like they're authentic and they know how to be themselves, and that is such a pleasure to be around for me. For some people, it makes them very awkward, very uncomfortable.
That's him though. He's so comfortable in his skin, which forces anyone around him to be that way too. So I grew without knowing it.
Yeah, denim like a jean. I'll never forget it. It was right around the corner too. It was CBS Studio Radford, the Seinfeld lot. Bernie Mac. So there. Let's make a quick list of people that I'm just going to do. Let's make our top 3 for all 3 of us. Mike, you can do it twice for this show and your show. 3 people that we wish we could have been doing this show while they were around to have them here, and we, life, whatever, didn't get the opportunity. Bernie is one for sure.
Bernie for sure, and I need to think of the other 2.
I'm going to say Paul Walker.
Oh, yes.
Just for the cars and the element, the fact that you have crossed paths with him, I have crossed paths with him. All of our friends, Sean Lee was best friends with him. I think that would have been a cool one. I think he would have been a cool guy to get to know, and I think he would have really dug what we're doing and what we're into. And I think he would have loved you now. He loved you then, but I think he would have loved you now.
I think so too. He's such a good guy.
Number 1, though, I'm going to skip. I did those out of order, but number 1, Gary Shandling.
Ooh, that'd be good.
He was always the special one that I didn't identify as special until later in life. And then when I did, it was like all too late. I put all the pieces together so they made perfect sense. And then right as it was all happening, you called me when I was on my way home that day, and you're like, oh, guess what? I'm like, ah! I started crying in a parking lot at Ralph's in Venice. That was a bummer. I always thought he was going to be the one to help me tell the story. The story. Because he got it. He got it. He was weird like that too.
Yep.
I think I told you
when
this,
he
but
met
he
Carlin-
kept the desk and chairs from his Larry Sanders show at.
Yes.
He had them in the garage for a little bit anyway.
And where are they now? Are they at the museum?
Yeah, last I don't know where they are currently exactly, but last time I knew a few months ago, they were at the Comedy Museum in Jamestown. National Comedy Center in Jamestown. He was just a fucking such an interesting dude. And any time I met him was so brief. And I'm not basing it on like, I had this long conversations for hours late at night with Gary J. Like, nope, not at all. Like it would just be his energy at Saturday Night Live or in like the hallway or, Lauren's office, the one that looks into the studio, he would go in there during the show to watch sometimes, with Lauren.
It.
And he was, whatever. Just a really cool dude. And very funny. Look, ladies. There's a bunch of guys around in the hallway and he had to walk. Ladies. And he's dressed to the nines and looks like Larry Sanders about to go out on stage even though he's not even performing tonight, Classy dude. Shout out to Gary Shandling. R.I.P. How about you?
Nicole, do you have a list?
I kind of second most of everything you said, but I would add Lucille Ball.
Oh, we missed that one by quite some margin. But yeah, all right. I agree with that. Then Johnny Carson, too. John DeLorean. All right, let's see. Abraham Lincoln, probably.
This is where I'm a dick, and I'm like, I did a guy from Jamestown, so I'm connected.
Oh, I see. Because of the Lucille Ball Comedy Center.
Yeah.
All that, yeah.
And I'm watching The Mothers-in-Law, which was produced by Desi.
Desi Lou, right? Or both
Yeah.
of them? Yeah. You've watched that a few times. Do you like it? I mean, obviously you do. What do you like about it?
I never watched it. I heard about it in Tina's book, but I haven't really watched it. I fall asleep to a lot of episodes, so I'm trying to watch them more consciously.
What did you guys think of, speaking of, bounce back to what you're watching. This is a weird anniversary show. It's just like every other show. What did you guys think of the White Lotus? We saw both seasons. Oh, neither season? Oh, we got a granddaughter in the room.
I'm sorry. My granddaughter just walked in, and so I muted for a second to see if she was leaving. I haven't seen it yet.
No worries. Do you want to? Do you have to go? Do you have to? Oh,
No, we're good.
I understand. Does she want to come in?
Sorry about that.
Don't be. Now what?
Once I got the through line of White Lotus, I liked both seasons better.
Yeah, but I didn't like the second one as much as the first, even though I liked the people.
No,
It was Hawaii for me. It was that location of the first one.
I loved the first season, but I understood the whole thing better.
Yeah, same here. We didn't go into that well. We didn't go into season 2 well. We go into things blind, so we're like, oh, cool. We know it'll be a different cast, but we thought it'd be the same resort, but it was they're in a different resort. Anyway, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it. The first season we highly recommend. The second season is not bad. It's just it felt like a departure. And then when we watched them back to back, because we decided to give it another shot, because we couldn't make it past episode 2. We watched the first season and then second season back to back, and then it was more palatable because we understood the through line. I think we misinterpreted what would be the similar characteristics, and it was a totally different show in our mind because we misidentified.
Yeah. It changes the perspective of everything when I do that.
Irene Hoffman says she would never sell her jackets or her yearbook. Never. Oh, the yearbook would be cool to get. One day I'll get one of those yearbooks. Irene Hoffman. I'm watching White Lotus. I like it. Love the actors. Irene Hoffman, which season are you on? Did you watch the first season and you're now on 2? Be interesting. So the first season is great. Steve Zahn, I say, is one of America's great underrated actors. He's known for his comedy stuff, which I think is hilariously funny, but he's such a good dramatic actor too, and he doesn't get much credit for that. I think he was in like Band of Brothers and stuff, where he.
What?
I might be wrong about that, but I think he was. Was he in Band of Brothers? I feel like you would know that. Oh, you don't know.
I didn't see Band of Brothers, and I'm deeply ashamed for admitting that out here right now.
You don't have to be. I've never really made it through Saving Private Ryan because it's very, very violent. As is
That's
war.
the movie that did it for me. I used to like war movies. I used to watch them. Saving Private Ryan turned me off of it.
Same here because
I watched Inglourious Bastards, but that's because Tarantino goes that extra mile to make it almost
his graphic and stuff was
ultraviolet.
funny.
Yeah.
It was so much over so that it was kind of fun, or there was a comedic undertone to his. There's a dryness. Saving Private
That's what
Ryan was
Tarantino
like
does.
being there. I can't imagine. My grandfather was there, and I never asked him if he's passed away now, but I don't know if he ever saw that movie, and I wouldn't imagine he would have wanted to. Or maybe it's the other way where they're like, finally somebody gets it, because for years those guys, you weren't there.
Yeah, I wish I'd asked my grandfather too, because I don't know what he would say.
We were too young. You're too young to care when you have the time and the opportunity to do it. Not you. We are too young to care to ask those things when we can, or to log the information or whatever. So many questions I wish I asked my grandfather. Oh, you're right. That's a really good point too. Do you mean scared from family dynamics or what you might find out?
I think all of the above. I think it's scared to open Pandora's box because of what might happen, and also scared to open Pandora's box. Like it's just one of those things that it would take, in my opinion, it would take bravery to ask questions like that to someone who is at a place like that.
But don't you think that would be rewarded from that person, given what we're talking about? The nature of it. My grandfather was tough.
Either way. Yeah.
My grandfather was from the
Anytime you do
generation that
something-
was like they didn't have problems. They just dealt with life.
Yeah, the perspective I think would be extremely valuable. And anytime you do something that's really difficult, you're, I think, rewarded with whatever. You get stretched, your comfort zone gets stretched. But I think the idea of hurting somebody or making somebody dredge up, painful memories, though, also is a consideration that many people would shy away from the idea because of.
Yeah. Wild. But
Yeah.
don't feel bad for not asking those questions. I think it's common.
Okay.
Autoimmunity Foundation. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I do have a list of my 3, by the way.
Let's hear it.
Number 1, by far, is Alan Coulter on mine. Gary Shandling, I'm not putting on mine because he was on yours, but he's there too. Number 2 is Andy Kaufman.
Oh, that's a good one for you. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And then number 3 is Warren Zevon.
Oh, God.
That's a good one.
Yeah, but I'm going to want that one too. I would want a different pass at it because I feel like you and I would go different places with him. There'd probably be some crossover, but I would want some time with Warren too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one in the world of Letterman too. You kept it.
Yeah.
Warren Zevon may or may not get inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. That's good news in my opinion. Well, if he does, and I think he will. I think he deserves to, and I think politically they probably will. I hope it happens. I think that would be really great.
Billy Joel's boosting for him. Billy Joel's trying to make it happen.
Is he the one who's championing this?
He's one of them. I don't know if there are others as well. I would imagine there are others, but he apparently is
What a cool thing. I didn't know that.
the piano man himself.
Man, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Warren was a fucking really cool dude. I never met him, but all you got to do is watch that last episode.
Can I give a little spoiler about the Felicia Collins episode?
Yeah.
That we're going to have out in a couple weeks. So Felicia, we talked about Warren, and it was one of these kind of holy shit moments. I got goosebumps right now even saying it. I haven't told anybody about it since we talked about it. But so we're talking about Warren Zevon, and a couple months after he passed, she realized that she had voicemail at the Ed Sullivan Theater offices because they had an office upstairs as well, but she just never checked the voicemail. And so someone said something about leaving a voicemail for her, and she's like, what? And she goes up and she checks, and there's a bunch of old messages. And one of the old messages was Warren asking if Felicia would play on his last album. And she never got the message. And so this is after he passed away. She got this message from Warren Zevon asking if she would work with him. And then part of it messed her up too, because she's like, oh my God, that last night that he was on the show, did he think I had snubbed him or anything like that? And it was just a really powerful, she had a powerful moment about that. And she talked about that on our show. Yeah,
I can't
that was
wait.
a crazy story.
Yeah. The fallens, the ones that aren't around anymore, they really get to you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make those phone calls anymore or send a text or whatever. It's very strange the moment somebody transitions. Let's see. Irene Hoffman says she is watching The White Lotus. She loves it. Loves the actors. Agreed. She's in the first season currently. However, hit a different thing here. Hang on. However, her friend loves the second. All right. Happy Valentine's Day, Jeffrey. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Furry Private Ryan. I must watch frequently. Painful, but must watch. Oh, Fury.
The tank movie.
Oh, wow. Now, what is her reason for that? Why do you want to keep yourself in that place, Irene? Why is it important to you? The lines at the end of the movies that make you cry with joy. Oh, wow. So maybe for her, maybe it's going through all of that at the end. Kind of a catharsis, maybe. You know how sometimes when you watch a sad movie, it makes you happy at the end because, like, you've fucking gone through the emotional journey with the people?
One of my clients that I traveled with, when you had movies on CDs, he's like, do you like to cry in planes? Because they like to show my movies. I'm like, yeah.
It is totally true. Yeah. Yeah, when you used to have that bundle of, is that what you mean? They were the DVD on the little sleeves. Yeah. You did always have that kind of crap. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, when you got mail and... Is that a tearjerker? Did anybody die in that?
No.
All right. Well, that was one of them. What else was there? The Notebook.
The notebook, yeah, there was some, I forget which ones, but there was a couple.
The Autoimmunity Foundation with this pretty lady's face is the website's up, and we are funding 2023 currently. There are a handful of fundraiser things that we're going to be doing through this year. One of which we're going to be talking about throughout this month, February. Because on the 26th, I believe, 23rd, 23rd, I think it is, whatever day, the Thursday right before the Lit show, LA Lit Week, Sean Cridlin will be back, author of the Hurley book, author of the Brumos book, very talented individual. Sean Cridlin will be back, and he is bringing one of his, if you recall, this is a 3 or 4 volume box set of books. I mean, this is $1,000 if you buy just the regular one, right? It's an incredible, massive work. But he had several of them. I don't know exactly how to describe it. The boxes are encased in canvas, and then he had artists draw on them, so they're art as well as the books inside. Really, really super cool. The one that Sean is donating to your foundation, to the show, to be given away, auctioned off, I should say, is by Jay Ward, who was a Pixar artist. So it's got Porsche cars and Sally on it. Sally from the Cars movies.
Awesome.
By the way, she's alive, but I would love to have her here. I've reached out a number of times, but she's never responded via social media. Bonnie Hunt to be here, Sally herself.
Ooh,
that would be amazing for the Letterman connection, and just every movie she's in, I think, is wonderful. And I've always adored her as a person. I can't explain why she reaches me that way, but I can't imagine the only one. So Bonnie Hunt. And back to Sean Cridlin, the book. Anyway, he's going to be here later this month, but we're going to have, and he's going to bring the set so we can look at it. We're going to be talking about that. Also, prints of the Happy Meal are going to be happening, but this book, Brumos collection opportunity, jumped the line. Everything that was going to happen this month for the prints is going to happen next month, as well as the auction for that painting. But 111, we do believe, will be the price. $111. There we go. And there will definitely be 111 of these. So this is Happy Meal. The sizing will be 30 by 40. We've decided on 30 by 40. And it will be $111, and it will be on excellent paper with excellent printing from the best shop in town and all of that stuff. So stay tuned for that. But you will have an opportunity to hang a larger version of this in your home. This is just a proof. The real one's huge. The real one's really big. And then 30 by 40 would be, I guess, probably more than 4 times the size of this. Get your shit together. I know. It is what it is. I'm so happy to be here with everybody. I love everybody. Love you, Mike. Love you. Love you.
Love you guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So, and then also, you can always donate to the autoimmunity. You don't have to wait to buy a picture or whatever. You can always donate to the Autoimmunity Foundation. That funds really kind of everything at this point. But everything that we do, including Good Vibes in this show, and things coming up in the future that you're working on, and things that we're all working on. And more of those goals it'll all come out in time. I'm just so happy there's finally a website to point to, because for a year I've been like, we're working on stuff, and I'm like, are you? We are. And finally, the coffers are full and of things to work on. I don't know what I'm saying. Financial coffers are empty. We have to fund the next year, but all sorts of cool stuff coming out. Stop talking now, you bet. I'm trying to think how much. You know what? We did this the other day, but I want to do it again. It's the East Coast feed. We threw it in at the end of the Byron show, but this to me is what East Coast feed's all about. We're gonna go back to BMW of Ridgefield, Danbury Chive, reporting live from work on Tuesday. If you've seen this already, just get really, really close, because it might be better the second time. Roll it out.
Mr. and Mrs. Ryan, East Coast feed coming to you live from the shop. Another fun day at BMW. Jeremy, We have a car here with a check engine light on. Could you enlighten us as to what we found today?
A lot of damn dog food.
A lot of damn dog food. And that was probably from their garage, and then the mice just...
Somewhere. Maybe even in the car.
Oh, could be in the car. You never know. We're going to find out. Let's take a look, shall we? Let's get a little bit closer. Let's just, can you zoom in on this right here? There we go here. Oh, that's a lot of dog food right there. That's the top of the engine. That's your spark plug.
Good stuff. Delicious.
Oh, looks like the car just shut off. Well, that's a fucking problem. Good thing it doesn't get killed by warranty. And love you guys. Say goodbye, Jeremy.
See ya.
No, you're supposed to say goodbye, Jeremy. That's the fun part.
Stop it! Woo! I mean, this is ridiculous. My mother's going on a cruise tomorrow, but she's checking in now saying, why does it come up as live at 5? Coincidence or by design that you are wearing the same Hawaii shirt? It is by design. I went to the... She's talking... My mother's got a close, watchful eye on the show tonight, folks. She's making sure...
Your mother's been on the show, right?
Oh, don't tell them. Don't. Yes, 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 yes.
Hey, it's the anniversary show.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yes, she has, but don't go Google it because it's not worth watching. Jay got very uncomfortable during that show. But the good news is you can see why Jay's the way he is by watching that show. You want a primer? It's 2 things you need to know: the microphone story and Jay's mom. Not even kidding a little bit. Favorite moments. Can we do that? Favorite moments?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The funny thing is they all run together. This is, when Dave and company would talk about how you would drive home and like, I don't remember what happened tonight, That's real. That's real when you're in this kind of a schedule where like the moment one's done, you wipe it because you need to start preparing for the next one, and they're all the same. So like if you don't wipe it, you get into some weird
back look.
Yeah, you get all glitchy.
I know.
What was it? We watched the movie Moon the other day. Came out. It's not new with Sam Rockwell. You remember that one? And
I love that movie.
Do you?
I
Why?
love that movie so
Tell me
much.
why.
Yeah.
I mean, we enjoyed it too, but tell me why you love it so passionately.
It was when I watched it, and I mean, it's 10 years old now, I would think, something like that.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
It was one of the most inventive, fresh science fiction movies that at the end of the day also could have fallen into the idea of a classic science fiction movie. Like it just, I find it timeless. And I thought, and I'm a huge fan of Sam Rockwell too. He's excellent. He's so charismatic.
Wow. It's fun. I love that we're so different and we describe things so differently. I would never think to describe him charismatic, although I do love him so much. I think he's great. He just always plays somebody who's not very charismatic. He's like, the movies I can think of, he's always a bad guy or like a gross, disgusting guy, including Moon. But what I was trying to get at was, it's this kind of, I don't want to give it away, but he's on the moon. He's doing the same thing over and over again. And sometimes even the tapes that he's watching, it's like, oh, is that the new Sam, the old Sam? What time is that from? Because it's just the same routine all the time. And you end up getting a little
yeah,
twitchy, glitchy if you don't wipe it. So that's why you always wipe properly.
It's also Groundhog Day today.
Oh, no.
I read that.
A little bit of Groundhog Day kind of in that movie, sort of.
A lot. It's the same thing over and over again. But get your backsides out of the sack. It's going to be a cold one today or whatever. I got you, babe. We had just recently watched Oblivion. Tom Cruise, Oblivion. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen that yet. Nope.
All right. Well, when you watch it, think of Moon. They're totally different movies, yet it's the exact same story. Just different.
But that's the thing about movies like that. Like that's where I call it kind of classic science fiction. It's like almost like an expanded Twilight Zone, kind of.
I would have said Moon because if you watch Moon carefully, it is an extraordinarily low budget movie. I mean, like Crazy low budget. It all takes place in essentially one room, and then whenever they go and on the moon, and whenever they go out to the moon, the graphics, I would call them, I guess. It's not even CG. Whatever the special effects visual are not good, and it's okay because you don't care because it's all about it's a character piece. But the whole clone nature of all of that, Oblivion. I think you'd enjoy it. Oblivion actually was better than I remembered it being. We'd seen it once before.
Yeah.
Kind of long. It was 2 hours. It was 2 hours.
Yeah, but it was a good enough story to
A lot happens in that 2 hours. We both really liked it. Highly recommend.
I like Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I don't necessarily like to admit that I like Tom Cruise because it's like, oh, risky business. And I'm like, no, I like the later shit that's kind of heady.
I'm with you. Like, he's much richer in thought than I gave him credit for.
You saw Maverick, right?
Oh yeah, I love that.
Fuck, that's a good movie.
Yeah,
We watched
saw
that again,
on the big
I don't know,
screen.
within the last month, maybe a month or so ago. Oh, it was better than the first time I saw it because I knew where we were going now, and I was able to like pick it apart, and it was good. It was good.
It's a perfect movie. It really is.
So good. I mean, that's another one that's bigger than I anticipated it being, and they paid it all off. I don't know. Do we want to talk? I feel like are we just floundering here? Should we talk about anything else or?
My favorite moment was Niall Evans's reaction to the playset.
You're so good at keeping me on track.
I loved that.
That was pretty awesome. I go back to Mark Pitta standing on the desk like Drew Barrymore because he was so awkward and unsure of whether or not he could do it, but I didn't stop him, so he just did it. That was early on, too. That was like right after Carol Leifer. I feel like that was year 1 or 2. The Jay Leno one you would think would be good for me. I'm really hoping that Jay Leno comes back. Also, get well soon to Jay Leno again.
Please, yeah. He got clotheslined.
He clotheslined himself, but yeah. God dang. I mean, we want to keep you around in the car culture anyway, so you're going to have to take it easy. Although it's a weird time to cancel the guy's show because like he's very popular and he's either sticking his head out of a plane or he's lighting himself on fire or he's crashing a motorcycle or he's wrecking a race car on his own show, rolling it over.
There's a lot.
Letterman never used to do any of that shit. He's finally coming into his own. Like Jay Leno just got interesting. Like what the fuck?
That's true.
And I mean that. Like I like him and I enjoy him very much, but like he just got interesting.
Yeah. He was very subdued for a long time.
Anyway, the Jay Leno one is my least favorite episode because I don't like me in it. He is wonderful. He is a great, giving, generous guest that day. And if you watch the second half, I'm fine with it. But if you watch the first half, I don't know who I was. I don't like it. I could tell you the whole story that led up to it that day for how and why it was awkward. But at the end of the day, it comes down to me, and I feel like I've done some growth since. I don't feel like the next one will be that way. But Rob Corddry is one of my favorites because of the bridge that was gapped, the gap that was bridged. We got married it had been it had been 9 years since we'd seen him because it's been 10 years now since we got married.
Yeah.
And it was right around the same time.
Yeah.
So that was a good one. Rainn Wilson, because for the same reason. Any of your old clients that have come back and seen you, now, those always tickle me.
I was just going to say that. I don't think anyone knows what to make of us anyway. But people that I used to know definitely don't know what this is about.
And then the old life people come here and they're like, what on earth? Like, they don't get it. They don't understand. He was laughing like a giddy kid. He's like, you're on a show. You have a show. Do you remember him over there mouthing the word? Because for years it was you over there and him sitting here.
Yep.
I mean, we've had so many.
I know it's a
great
more recent
guests.
one, but does O'Donnell, does he hit your top 10? I mean,
top 10 for sure. Probably top 5.
Yeah.
That was a big
Yeah.
one for me. And you know what's really interesting about that nobody knew the backstory of? When we first started doing this, we were working with a friend of ours, the friend that we met through, who was a producer on Everybody Hates Chris, and she used to be Chris Rock's assistant way back in the day. But Kali Landano, who worked on the Chris Rock show and knows Steve O'Donnell from those days. Steve O'Donnell was a writer on Chris Rock show. I don't know if you guys you knew that, but I don't know if they knew that. And she was always in the very beginning like, oh, and we can get Steve O'Donnell, and oh, I'll help you get Steve O'Donnell, and oh, I should reach out to Steve O'Donnell. It was always like she was going to get a Steve O'Donnell. And then, life and whatever. And she became a therapist somewhere and like just totally shifted gears in life. And we kind of thought like, oh, geez, so, maybe it won't happen. And then we thought Kellison would get a Steve O'Donnell, and then we couldn't get Kellison for a long time, and blah, blah, blah. So when Steve O'Donnell finally got here, it was like a long road for us. And I was so happy about it. And I had already had the Leno thing and, I had some experience. That show was one of my favorites because I just got to talk to Steve O'Donnell. I finally got to talk to
It was a
somebody,
very
like a
natural
comedy
conversation.
idol, a comedy. It's how Don's feels whenever he gets to talk to a worldwide pantser. Like he's so into that world. When Morty gets here, if we get Morty here, that to me will be one of my favorite episodes. I hope and assume because of the stuff we're going to be able to talk about and stuff that I always wanted to be able to talk about. It's J therapy though. I don't know that these shows are good. Do you you're a nerd for this stuff. You are a hardcore fan for this stuff. If you weren't, would you have enjoyed the Steve O'Donnell episode?
I think so. I think
Yeah?
he was. Because Steve O'Donnell is a character himself. Like when you were talking to him about cars, and he was talking about his old Mustang that he has and whatnot. Like you guys just had a really cool repartee, and I mean he's a character. Like the answers to his questions they're all so unique because he is so unique. So yeah, I think I mean obviously because of who he is, there was some extra juice to it perhaps for me. But I thought he was totally a character, and I thought you two had a fantastic conversation. And I just,
I'm happy to hear that. That was, but it was for me. Selfishly, it was really good. The Rain one too, for the same kind of reason. Like people say that was a good like if you're gonna take one of your shows and be like, submit this one for whatever, this would be on the better side of the curve.
yeah.
I have yet to watch that one back, but I do appreciate people saying that because I enjoyed.
I've
that
watched
one too.
it back, and it's so funny. And I mean, I think we've beat this topic to death a little bit on this show here, but it's worth saying it again, especially on the anniversary show. The fact that you are one of the only people on the entire planet that hasn't watched The Office, and how taken he was by it, and how he actually I think he just assumed, okay, he's seen it off and on. Obviously, Jay would know some of the things, but then the Beat Farm part was one of my favorite moments in any show this year. Doesn't matter the network, doesn't matter anything. Like where he looked and said, "Wow, you really haven't watched the show."
And he challenged me, and I challenged him. It was like he goes dare, and I go double dare, and he's like physical challenge, bitch. Yeah.
And then
I go, I think that's pretty obscure, and everyone is like, it's a pretty big. Everyone knows about the beet farm. At least I know it's a beet farm now. I thought it was a fig farm or a whatever.
And then not for nothing, my favorite moment, of course, was actually being on the show and actually walking into the playset and feeling those same feelings, and actually seeing my wife on the set was delightful. I loved everything about that experience. That was just for those watching at home. If you ever have a chance to be a guest on the Cars and Comedy Show, be a guest, because it is a really awesome experience.
Or just come see it live. Like we've been doing that now. People have been, coming in and just sitting quietly over on the other side, like auditing, like court. If you want to be an attorney, you want to come see how it's all done.
That's right. It's not an audience; it's a gallery.
That's right. Auto Journey says, Auto Journey is the one with the clips. The Jay Leno episode was great. Well, decide what clip we should put up. Auto Journey. Hilarious. You're the man. That's the guy who reached out and was going to help us out with clips. Thank you, Auto Journey. You guys should William Miller. You guys should go see Meg. That's got to be a different William Miller, right? You guys should go see Megan the Killer Doll movie. It's a great movie, sort of comedy horror movie. And can we all just? Who is this? This isn't Malibu Bill, right? William Miller. It's got to be a different William Miller. Because that would be really weird. Oh my God. Happy Groundhog Day. Bill Murray was awesome in the movie. Thanks for the great show. You guys rock. Got to be a different Bill Miller, right?
It has to be.
Last time we saw Bill from Malibu Kitchen, he was at Cafe de la Plage. Good vibes. That was weird. Yeah, there's some other things going off. I'll talk about it next week. I think I can talk about it next week because I'm going to go look at the spaces on Monday with the person. And then after that, perhaps I will fill the audience in on not only what some of the projects upcoming are, but who they're for and what we're talking about and stuff. And it's stuff that you'll all be interested in, and I just haven't been talking about it because it hasn't been real yet. But I think it will be real soon. So
Cool.
yeah. It is. It's great. It's good and great. I kind of thought I was past building studios and stuff.
I know.
Yeah. A few more studios coming up, folks. 2 more at least coming up soon. For other people.
Every time you think you're out, they pull you back in.
Yeah, and it's not I don't mean to complain about it. It's just like so much other stuff is going on right now. It's one of those like, where is the time? Where is the time? And the energy. And, I wish I could fix you. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on our plate.
It's bad now, but it'll get better.
All right. Did you have any of this?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
It's, yeah, I brought the thing to read it too. Oh, I threw it in here. This is from our friends at Chill Club. Kirk.
Ooh.
Kirk the Delivery Chill Club. And it's, hilarious. Lucky Charms with a Z.
Hilarious.
Yeah. She just finished a giant size box of Lucky Charms, and a new one just arrived today for you. You're like cattle.
I sit there and the cat comes out and it needs food and we eat together.
Really?
Yeah. It's our time.
Whenever I'm out?
Yeah.
Oh, that's adorable. Now I know what they're doing. While the cat's away.
We both have routines and we like our space, but that's the one time we meet and say hello and disappear.
I love it. Okay. Sorry. Here we go. I don't know what Phyllis is responding to, but oh, really? She must love this button. Oh my gosh, hilarious. I told you that Tori VW for Life was looking at a 997. He just sent me a picture of it and a facepalm emoji with the comment, I have zero self-control. So I have a feeling that our friend VW for Life, our first guest from this show, bought a new car today. And if I'm right, it's this, and it's pretty damn cool. Way to go. It looks like lobsters on there. And I forget if they call it seal gray or what Porsche's gray is. But
is that gunmetal?
Nice. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's how you would describe it, or maybe a little lighter than gunmetal, but it's BMW would call this color space gray, but this is Porsche's version. It may be medium gray. I can't remember. Seal gray, I think, is the darker one. The Porsche colors are really quite extreme. Their naming systems and stuff are a little all over the place.
My Mercedes is midnight blue, I believe.
That's a good color. Say it again.
My Mercedes is midnight blue, I believe.
That's pretty. That's a nice name. And that's like what you would call, it's dark, dark, dark blue. Midnight blue.
Right.
Perfect.
It's logical.
Yeah, and everybody gets interested. Hondas used to be Horizon Gray back in the day, but that was really their purple. It was that kind of purple haze color that was on the
yep.
Civics for a little bit in the 90s.
Yep.
But Straley had a Horizon Gray. This is beautiful. Seriously? Beautiful. Thanks for being there for that, everybody. Okay. It's the anniversary show, and I guess that's it. Seems like we'd have some hoopla, but that's not how we do things.
No.
How does everybody feel? I mean, if we're checking our phones, that must be it, right? I have more things I could talk about, but I feel like I talk too much.
I don't think you talk too much. I mean, introspection is a good thing. How do you feel about the next 5 years?
The next 5 years are very interesting. Historically, I've been able to build the 5 year out. I'm having a hard time lately getting to 5. And I've that's not a good thing for someone who manifests. You shouldn't be blocked. I assumed that it was because we're living so day to day now, like moment to moment often, that it's kind of a survival mentality that kind of keeps me from building too far out, because it's like, oh, we won't get to that anyway. We've got to build what's here, and then it'll change. And we've been that way for the last few years, hence, the slow grow. I can tell you that next year, this time, I think everyone... Are you listening to me, or are you talking to your granddaughter? Oh, my gosh.
My granddaughter's just saying goodbye to me. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
Alara, say bye real loud.
Bye.
There we go.
All right.
I was listening. She just popped in the room for a second.
I know you were listening.
I didn't
You're on
mean
camera,
to
so I
ruin
could
that
see
moment.
you not.
I feel terrible
I
about
see you
that.
not.
I feel terrible about that. You were like really going.
I was giving your answer everything, your question everything it asked for.
And I was listening to it up to that moment.
Well, it's all gone now. I don't remember what it was, but I know that it wasn't that important. Introspection is good. I remember that. Introspection is good.
Yeah, removing blocks is good too.
Removing blocks is good. Yeah. Removing blocks is good. I feel like for me, it's the awareness. Once I get the awareness, I can't help but work on moving the block. Like, try and stop me. Like, I can't do anything but focus on moving the block. But the awareness of the block, sometimes that's my block.
Yep.
The dog food in the engine. Here's the takeaway.
But to me,
folks.
that's what
Don't
this show
put
is
dog food
about.
in your
Like,
engine.
to me,
There must be a
to me,
delay
this
tonight
show
in Canada, 'cause
does
we're
that for people.
We're stepping on each other, and we can't quite get a groove.
There must be.
I'm listening to you, buddy. I'm sorry. There's just like a delay
No,
or something, and it's
that's-
hard to...
I apologize for that if it's on my end. I was just going to say this show actually, in my opinion, helps people remove blocks.
You think? Because
do.
we're willing to do it ourselves? We, the people who are on this show?
The example for sure, but then also, I mean, how many guests, like even Byron the other night or Kat, every time Kat's on, it's new discoveries and removal of blocks. And I think that a lot of the guests, I think if there's an overarching theme to this show, that's a huge one for sure. Being present, removing blocks, definitely.
I think you're right about that, but it also feels like something that comes along with, well, yeah, okay, you're right. But the nature of the people that we're talking about they're all seemingly on their journey. No one's like done. I mean, I guess that I know you never really finish, but we're all kind of, so this is sort of the not ready for primetime talk show, where it's like Kat's still working through her stuff, which is why it's interesting when she's on every time, once a month or whatever, because we get to see a different Kat each time. That's kind of why we didn't rely so heavily on goals when we were doing this show of like, let's get to this or get to this or get to this. It was, let's figure out what the hell we're doing, who we are, what any of this is. And I used to beat myself up on that too until I heard Mark Maron a couple years ago, like 2 years ago. I heard him talk about how the first few episodes of his show, like the first few hundred episodes of his show, were nothing but therapy for him. He's like, go listen to the first 200. It's just me talking about everybody, about me, and whatever's going on in my problems, and they're helping. It went both ways, but that was what he was doing. That was what he was using it for.
Yep.
Probably unintentionally. And I think maybe we did that too.
I
or
think
are
we
doing
did.
that.
I think so. I remember comedians saying that a lot. That's why they liked going up, was just talking.
It's the
about-
process.
Yes, and hearing their thoughts out loud. That's all you need sometimes. So it's helping me selfishly.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we've kept doing it too. You know, in the beginning, I think it was, let's see what the heck. And then somewhere like, I don't know, it seems like all this should be quicker, but in the year or 2 year mark, it did seem like it was actually helping us in general. And then somewhere after that, like year 3, I can't believe it's been years that we've been doing this show. COVID really screwed it up because it doesn't feel that long. But at some point, I'm guessing about the halfway point, other people started to talk about it to us of like, yeah, but you can't stop doing your show because, well, yeah, but no, but like we need it. Like, oh no, but we really get stuff. Oh, but I wouldn't have had this moment if it were not for you. Or, oh, I really needed you that night and your show was on. Like, we don't talk about that side of things very often because it's not very entertaining. But that's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
This has been here.
Yep.
I don't know how long. This is about GVBC, but it's the same thing because it's really about us. What did I ever do? This is just, I'll just read it. What did I ever do to deserve this? I used to ask myself this a lot when I was a kid. I still find myself asking the same question today, but I'm happy to say that it's for an entirely different reason. To avoid making this depressing and to give a bit of context to what I'm about to say, just let me start by saying I didn't know the true meaning of the word family until the day I started on my own at the age of 16. Started my own at the age of 16. I've been fortunate enough to be gifted 2 wonderful families, my own and the one I'm lucky enough to have here. This last year alone has been one of the most emotional ones I've had in a while. We've been coming up here for just a few years now, and the amount of love and support my family and I have received along the way has been overwhelming, to say the least. So many of you have supported us as if we were your own child or family member. Your encouraging words and kind gestures really keep us going. To everyone I've ever met and bonded with, it's been my absolute pleasure, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you so much for all that you've given us. I wouldn't be half the person I am today if it wasn't for people like you. If you feel anything towards me, it's only because you've given it to me along the way. I am merely a reflection of you. I could live my life 100 times over and never be able to repay all that you've given to this little speck of dust you call your friend. I know we don't say these words as often as we should, let alone hear them, but I love you. I don't know what I ever did to deserve you, but I really am grateful to have you. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas and a Happy New Year. I don't think this was from this year. I think this was from last year. This has been in the desk for a long time. I didn't want to read it on the show because it felt so heavy, but it meant so much to me when I read it that I felt it needed to go somewhere, and I was going to post it. I just never really felt so. That was from somebody who still comes up regularly to GVBC. I mention them all the time because they give us cars to put on the wall in the studio here. Matchbox Cars is wrong. It's the other one, Hot Wheels. But this was long and it was GVBC related. Messages like this about shows we do with people where topics like the ones with Byron or Kat come up, real stuff, talking about your issues on a regular basis. I'm sure you get tons of messages about that. I get a shit ton on the show page and personal. And if the fact that we're doing this at all helps people in any way, shape, or form in their lives or to be better people in the world, which then helps all of us, that's what this is all for. That's the purpose. That's what you're funding with Autoimmunity Foundation. That's what you're supporting when you make a comment or do anything nice to one of our social media pages. We want to stand for good vibes. We want to align with that. We want to be beacons for and with this community because we all get better together. The stronger we all grow together, the better this thing is. And I don't mean this show. I mean like life, the world.
Yep.
the end of every show, we talk about how we love each other in this room and on this show and to the audience at home. It's not words, guys. I mean it. She means it. He means it. We all mean it. And that may be weird to you because some people don't say it in their own lives. Sorry if it's weird. We're the friends in your life that will bridge that gap of making it not weird. I don't know. I guess just speaking freely from the heart is how we're ending this anniversary show. But we love everybody out there.
Happy anniversary, guys.
For watching this show and for supporting us and for just being willing to go there yourselves. To watch this show, you have to be willing to do it. I don't just mean like click it on. I mean like you got to be willing to think and go places.
Yep.
And it's not just radio. And I don't mean that in a bad way either, but it's not, we don't have any commercials on the show. You might notice that. Like last year, we wiped out all the commercials on this show. There aren't any ads. You don't have to click through stuff. You don't have to wait 5 seconds on YouTube for free. That was important to us. I'm not knocking shows that have ads. You have to pay for stuff. But it didn't feel right, and the alignment process wasn't right for us, and the foundation was. So support us. Support the Autoimmunity Foundation. Make a donation today. Made possible from the support of viewers like you. I love everybody. I really effing do. Even if you think I don't, I probably love you more. Like, it's really weird how my brain works. If you think I don't like you or you think we have a problem, I'm probably thinking about you all the time and wishing that you're well. So, I don't know. I say this too every once in a while. Like, if there's anybody who does have a problem with me, let's work it out. Let's talk about it. Let's not have a problem anymore because I'm too old and I don't want that in my life anymore. I love everybody. I mean that. There's where we're ending it. Happy anniversary, everybody. Love you. Love you, Producer Mike. We love you at home.
Love you guys.
Please love one another. I didn't answer your question as to where you see this, but the next year...
I think you just did.
The next year is really, really good. So stay tuned.
I like that.
More to come. Love one another. See you out there. Except Irene says, I love the goofy all over the place episodes. Mike's episode 2, Steve O2. I want to sit in your audience. Come on over. See you later. Good night, everybody.